What's up, my brothers and sisters in Christ? Welcome to a very special episode of the Sunday Word Report. This is episode 130. Woo! 130 episodes. Ain't that something? Hey, it's been a minute, y'all. I think the last episode I posted was June, July. It's been a minute. But as y'all see, there's a new setup. I got a Sunday Word Report backdrop. Ain't that something? A lot of stuff has been changed here on the Sunday Word Report. Also, for the first time ever, I am happy to announce that this episode, not only you will be able to watch it on Facebook and YouTube, but also you will be able to listen to the Sunday Word Report on streaming platforms. So there's plenty of ways for you to check out the Sunday Word Report every fourth Sunday. And there's no better way to kick off this brand new beginning than with my guest for today. Let me tell you all about my guest for today. So this guest, this will be her ninth time. This will be her ninth time on the Sunday Word Report. And not only that, I believe the last time she was on here was February 2020. So it's been a little over 4 years. And can y'all believe it? That was pre-COVID, like a month before the pandemic started. So it's been a minute since I had her on here. Y'all, I know y'all wanted her on here because a lot of y'all have asked where she was. So have no fear. She is here today. We actually had another topic planned. We actually had something else planned for this episode. But there's a lot that has went down over the last few weeks. We're going to talk about that shortly. So in order for you to get to know, for those who have never checked out the Sunday Word Report, I want you all to get to know her. And for those who have been keeping up with the Sunday Word Report, I want you all to get, reintroduced to her because like I said, it's been a minute. So let's go back. Can y'all believe that her first episode was on October 25th, 2018? And here we are, the fourth Sunday, October 27, 2024. I didn't realize how close the dates was until I was, making this little throwback clip. So let's go back to her first episode with me talking about success, God's way. October 25th, 2018, the Sunday Word Report.
A lot of Christians get caught up, in the fact of they are a Christian and their religion and their faith, and they feel like they can't be human. It's like they feel like they're never going to make a mistake. And then when you see somebody who's trying to come into the ministry and come into, understanding their faith, it's like you beat them down for it. It's like you make it seem like they're not able to be acceptable. And, accepted. But just as far as being successful, because I feel like I got off track, but just as far as being successful, I told these young guys, I was like, regardless, if you was to get out here and you set these standards for yourself and you set these goals, then of course you need to do it the way God is telling you to do it. It's not just little voices in your head, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's just in order to be successful and to continue to stay positive about the situations that you're going into, it's just a matter of taking the time to pray about it, taking the time to listen to God about it. And if you do need to confide in somebody else who is in the ministry, then that's perfectly fine. Because there used to be a time where if I had an issue, I wouldn't talk to anybody about it. Maybe just my mother, and that's it. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't until recently where I felt comfortable enough to not be embarrassed to talk about personal situations or anything with other people who are in the church, even if they're not in my church. So Yeah, just in order to be successful, just taking the time to understand what God is telling you, making sure that He's telling you the right thing, and making sure that you're willing to take the steps. Faith without works is dead. That's everybody else's favorite
Yeah.
scripture.
Please welcome back to the Sunday Word for first time in 4 years, Miss Christina Walden. Welcome back.
Hi, hi, hi. How are you?
Ain't it's great to have you on here. It's great. I mean, it's interesting because that was 6 years ago. Six
Uh-huh.
years ago,
It
and it's
was.
a lot done changed in 6 years.
I have no hair now. Like, I was so small back then, and I was just fumbling over my words, didn't know what to say, and now it's just I'm a completely different person.
Yeah, and y'all, she's a mama now, a beautiful daughter. I tell you, I call her my beautiful ray of sunshine because she's always smiling. Every time I see her, she always smiling.
Oh, yes.
But it's great to have you back on here. Hopefully, I could get you. We could do something in person, in the near future. But it's great to have you here virtually. So, me and Christina, I ain't gonna lie, we was gonna talk about correction on this particular episode. But in between getting ready for that, where we're at in the South, we were hit hard by
Very.
Hurricane Helene. Um, there's no better way to put it. Had I have been through a lot of storms, but that right there was a topper, and they said that was a category 1,
Mm-hmm.
and it did a lot of damage.
It really
And
did.
now, as of this taping, here at the house, we just got power back yesterday, and that was at the end of September. And this is the beginning of October, as this being taped at the beginning of October. So, it's for me personally, it humbled me even more because I think a lot of people got comfortable, say, "Oh, nothing, never gonna come here." we got food, big
Exactly.
time. So I think it'll humble me more, and also it makes me be more grateful because at the end of the day, there was a lot of people who got it way worse than what we did because we got hit hard here, but in North Carolina and Florida,
Yeah.
I mean, storm surges, towns wiped out of existence in North Carolina. But I'm just grateful that I'm still here. We all still here, and I really just wanted to use this episode for myself and Christina just to talk about what we went through and how we're recovering. So, Christina, if you don't mind, go ahead and give your take on Hurricane Helene.
Um, well, like you said, it was definitely underestimated. Everybody felt like, well, it's just another storm. You're gonna get some bad winds, some bad rain. That's about it. But when I tell you from my experience, I think maybe when I was a child years ago, we had a very bad ice storm. Now, I'm not, at a point where I can remember that. But as of now, they're saying that this situation was worse than that years ago. So, and I feel like a lot of people don't realize that we were hit by the eye of the hurricane, if I'm correct. And it's just to see where you've lived your life and grown up and to see a lot of things destroyed, a lot of things, um, be uh, not demolished, but to a point where, you're not used to going without power. You're not used to having to stand in line and wait for gas, stand in line and wait for food, those type of things. And people have become very like irate about a lot of that. And it's just like you said in the beginning, when you go through something like this, it humbles you, it makes you feel grateful for what you have had previously, and then it changes your perception of things when you come out of this and then you start to move forward in life. So I know from my experience, I thought like everybody else. I just thought it was going to be just a typical storm. I didn't think it was going to put me out of work for a couple days. Um, but what I can say is, for me personally, I know where I live. Our area got hit pretty bad. Um, and I remember I was just sleep, had the baby situated. Dad is asleep in his room. It's my room, the baby's room, and then dad's room. Tree fell right on top of the baby's room. Caved in the whole ceiling, caved in the walling. And when I got up, I just remember just thinking to myself, my child could have been in that room. And who knows what the outcome would have been. So I just remember, just holding on for my, for dear life to my child, and just, checking on my father, making sure he was okay. Then when we were able to come out of it the next day and take a look at some of the damage, it could have been 10 times worse. So I just thank God that we were covered. I thank God that he, didn't allow any hurt, harm, or danger to come before us. And, you know, um, I made a post about it on social media. However, it wasn't to get sympathy. It was more so to show people, like, it's not just certain people who were affected. Like, this happened to me as well. So I guess you could say it's kind of me giving my testimony. And it meant a lot to have people just reach out and still reach out, checking on the well-being of me and my family. So it was definitely a situation, and it just changed my outlook on a lot. So I'm just ready for everything to get back to normal. I know it's going to take some time. It's going to take some time for Augusta, period. But a lot of people weren't used to this, and a lot of people don't know how to handle this situation.
Mm-hmm.
So they're just doing anything, saying anything, and they're not really thinking about the consequences behind their actions, because everything that I'm seeing is ridiculous out here. And then just, I don't know if you've heard about what it was, about 9 deaths in no, about 15 in between North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. And it's just unfortunate that because of this situation, people are losing their lives. So I just continue to pray for the people who are affected. Continue to pray for those who have been serving the community, helping out. A lot of these churches are uh, putting in the effort and putting in the work to make sure that people in their community are pretty much taken care of. And I feel like it won't be in vain. I feel like it'll be for the better good. So,
Yeah, and going back, like you mentioned, we had, people remember the 2014 ice storm, but I remember the first one in 2004. Ain't that something? 2004, the first ice storm.
mm-hmm,
14, the terrible one. And the first one was bad, but the second ice storm was just absolutely terrible. I think I remember people in Atlanta being stranded on the highways, had to sleep in their cars at night because they got stuck. Um,
mm-hmm,
Now here we are, 2024, Hurricane Helene. I never would have thought we would be here talking about a hurricane hitting, Georgia, South
Georgia.
Carolina. I never would have thought that, because I know I told my wife this. I was like, there have been plenty of hurricanes in other states and other cities, and people came here for refuge. And
Right.
Augusta was the ones that was reaching out to them and taking stuff to them, but now we're the ones in need. Look
Mm-hmm.
how the roads have, changed. And going and I don't think, see, here's the crazy thing. I know people all over the US.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know? I'm just gonna tell like it is, that no one knew what had happened in Georgia or the Carolinas. They heard
Mm-hmm.
about Florida, which I'm not trying to, show favoritism over, one over the other. I'm just keeping it real. They wasn't talking about what happened here.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people that I know was like, what? I was like, yeah, it came through. And then that's when they went online and looked it up. It was a terrible situation. I mean, there are people still, as of this taping, still without power.
Mm-hmm.
People still, don't have water because, There have been water advisories and all kind of things going on. People power have been restored and some still going off. I just looked at my phone right before I got on here. A whole street, Pete Georgia Road here, got, lost power and stuff like that. I mean, it's been awful. I remember that. I think it was the first day afterwards. People was in line trying to get, ice from the ice machine, trying to save food, and gas stations were packed. It reminded me of Hurricane Katrina,
Right.
because the only thing that didn't happen, the livers didn't break, thank God. But even though Katrina, I haven't found out facts as of this statement. A lot of people said this was worse than Katrina. But the reason it reminded me of Katrina, I remember how gas was low, and I remember how much devastation there was, and it just took, for some reason, it took me back to 2005, and I remember it. It just took me back to that point, and and not only that, in the midst of all this, people lost their minds. I mean, they already lost it before, but people really lost their minds. You would think after all this, you would try your best to be positive despite what's going on, but it's just so many negative people, miserable. Let me tell you this: the most miserable, negative, nasty, grumpy people are the ones who hide behind a keyboard or hide behind their phone on social media. But when you get face to face, they ain't gonna say nothing.
Oh, of course. That's how it always is. But what can you do? What can you say? People like that, misery loves company. So they don't have somebody to be miserable with them, they get offended. So, you just got to pray for people like that. So you can do.
Because this is my first time getting back to work in ministry since everything, because I haven't been able to do the God's Recorded Podcast or this. And I was reminded of my second book, Can You See Me Now, about how God, he shut down, he used the time of the pandemic to ask everybody the question, can you see me? Do you have time for me now? Because all the distractions, everything is shut down. Now, do you have time for me? Or whatever. And it's just like, God, it's like they didn't have cell phone service. Which I had cell phone service during the storm. But I woke up, I had ended up going to sleep after everything was over. Woke back up. My phone was not working. Couldn't get on social media like that. It's just like all the distractions and stuff that we do on a daily basis were kaput. So it's like we was in a situation where we had no choice but to trust in God. And I believe God is trying to get our attention, because he's getting ready to tell Jesus, hey, go get my children. And some people that actually get mad when you talk about that, because they saying, stop being so deep, stop being so holier than thou. Nobody. We had a hurricane. God didn't. It's in the scripture. Man, believe me. I want you all to go read the whole chapter of Matthew 24, but I want to, for the second time, I want to read 7 and 8 real quick. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. And y'all, everything that's happening is just the Bible being fulfilled. Things happening in places that normally don't get bad weather. And like I said, this area that had a lot now: tornadoes, ice storms, snowstorms, earthquakes, all kind of stuff. So it's a reminder that we all need to get our house in order. The song by the great Dottie Peoples, get your house in order, because Jesus is really coming back again. I mean, I tell you, this thing that made me closer to Jesus, because this was the first time during the storm I was like, Lord, if this my time, I'm ready. That's how bad it was. I never heard the wind like that. And then to step out and see the damage is just, it's crazy. And like Chris, our tree went through her daughter's room. A tree didn't go through the house, but it fell on top of my children's room. And a tree fell inches away from my parents' house. I think we all have been affected by
Yeah,
this storm in some shape, form, or fashion.
it's just, oh, it's just unfortunate. But I'm gonna say one thing that I can say I'm thankful for is, and this ain't to rub it in. This is just me. But, I'm thankful that I had family who was willing to open up their house and say, hey, you can come and live here until the construction of your house is completed. I haven't, went without power. I
Mm-hmm.
haven't went without food, haven't went without, water. Now for a couple days I went without gas, but I was used to that. So I'm used to riding on E. But I be pushing it. But yeah, I think the one thing that really made me, feel down the most was the fact I'm so used to getting up and ready to go to church on Sundays. I'm so used to, oh, well, it's 7 o'clock. I need to get myself and the baby ready. We got to be in the sanctuary by 8:45. And then to hear Bishop cancel service,
Mm.
to hear Bishop say we're not having our church anniversary. Um, but one thing I can say is I'm thankful that uh Bishop and elect lady, they have been checking in with a lot of us as far as a lot of the members and just, um, seeing where we are mentally and physically and seeing how we're doing. Um, and I mean, it's just, a minor setback, things happen. So it's just when we go to church on Sunday, you got to give them a praise like never before. So that's like with us, we have convocation coming up Wednesday, and that's definitely that's gonna be a moment for everybody. Um, I know for me, especially if we go live, you're gonna see me take a couple laps. Couple laps.
Yeah, I believe you. I believe it. And the thing, I'm glad you brought up a point about you never really went without. Um,
Mhm.
and also too, I want to talk about how you say you didn't want to rub it in. Let me tell you something. A lot of people didn't want people to brag about when they got power, this or that, because they just talking about why they talking about that. We don't need to hear about that. They don't need to rub it in. But for me, this is how I looked at it. God's doing it for them. That means we're next.
Right.
And our time is coming slowly but surely. He may not come when you want him to, but he'll be there right on time. Like
Mm-hmm.
our power at the house came on here and at my parents' house around the same amount of time, and it was right after I posted a quote from my pastor. Shout out to Reverend Dr. Christopher Armstrong. He said in church, we lost electricity, but we didn't lose power. And when I shared that quote on Facebook, first my parents' power came back on. Then next thing you know, the power here came back on. And it wasn't, and here's the crazy thing, leading up to Sunday, we saw people, on our street, street by street by street getting power, and they were just making their way towards us. We just
Mm-hmm.
kept thanking God. I mean, it got to the point we kind of got you. We thank God that the power back on, but we kind of got used without it because it's just like the first couple of days was hard, but we got we was eating, we had food, we had ice.
Mm-hmm.
Praise God that my children are not children that are dependent on devices. They are actually being kids. They went outside and I mean, they played till they couldn't play no more. By the time
Yeah.
it got nighttime, they was not there. And stuff. So it shows that one, God is good, and it also shows that we can go without certain things that we are so used to having. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm just grateful that we are still here to talk about it. It's 2024. Me and Christina talking about kids. And that first clip we didn't have no children. Oh boy, wow.
Everybody know. I
Yeah,
was content with no kids, honestly. But
yeah,
I am very thankful for my baby Heavenly. Very thankful. But
yeah.
I'm gonna piggyback off of what you just said. Um, how you just shouted out your pastor, I gotta shout out mine because he had made a status a few days ago. And you know how you get up in the morning, you say your prayers, you you know, pray for protection that no hurt, harm, or danger comes before you while you're out and about, while you're on the highways and byways, that type of thing. And Bishop had made a post that said, you are living in the prayers and the manifestations of the protection that you pray for. And I really had to sit there and think about it. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm used to praying it because that's what I was taught, but I've never went through anything where I never went through something too serious, well, something, you know, uh to that extent. So
Mm-hmm.
when it happened, I was and I saw the post that he made. I was like, you know what, he's absolutely right. And I just think of what could have been. So, like I said, I thank God because as I mentioned earlier, when I went outside to look at the damage, I went to look at the damage down the street at other people's houses. And, in our backyard, we have an extra like pool house or whatever. There's trees all around the house. To go outside and look at the damage, not only did the tree hit her room, but it skipped my room when it fell. Then, with my father's room sitting next to hers, there was another tree that fell, but was caught by a smaller tree that could have easily went through his roof as well. So that's why I said I really just thank God because it really could have been a detrimental situation. And because you see it happen all over, like with Katrina, like with the recent hurricanes, things like that, you never think that it can happen to you, and you just kind of see that, oh, okay, well, people are experiencing this, they're going through this, but that has nothing to do with me because I'm not there. But
Mm.
now you look at it, and now you're the one that's going through it. So I just really hope that Augusta can continue to come together so we can rebuild as quickly as possible. Because the longer we sit in this and nothing is being done, it's just, no positive outcome from it.
Yeah.
So,
We need to keep this spirit of unity because, we look at 9/11, the country
hmm
united. You hear locally the storms and different things. We united. Why not keep this going? I mean, I
hmm
ain't gonna lie. A lot of stuff could be done better, but overall, I am so happy and proud of what my city has done. People helping one another, giving free food, just a whole bunch of stuff. And I said, I said this also to my wife. I was like, we're the needy now.
hmm
Because we are, when after everything was over with, we had no power. I mean, had two kids to, feed. We were needed. We needed things, and we need to go, go out and find things. And it's just and also reminded me too of how some people are homeless and have to deal with stuff like this every single day. It makes me
and
want,
and
yeah.
not only them having to deal with something like that every single day, but I don't even think people really stop to think about those who are really in need. Like,
Mm,
yes, we're in houses, we lost power, but what about those who don't have any shelter? What about those who are, this is their
mm,
way of living, to be out and about on the streets? What have you done to help? Now, it's just, I guess people have kind of put that on the back burner. You know what I'm saying? It's like they're the last thought. But
mm-hmm,
like I said, I have to continue to pray for everybody else's safety and just hope that we recover from this as a community.
mm-hmm.
And then it was something else that I had thought about that you had said how people get upset when you talk about God restoring power or God, doing this for
Because
this
at the end of
person.
the day, the Bible tells us we got to be humble. We
hmm
got to be humble. Um, and I'm just gonna call it like it is. Too many it's too many cocky, stuck on themselves people out in the world. You gotta humble yourself
It really
because at
is.
the end of the day, I'm gonna say this, and this is gonna be it for me. Um, God has been good to us and protected us, but if you don't get closer to Him now, then you are in some bad shape because at the end of the
Yes.
day, um, God is trying to get all of our attention, and it's going to be up to each and every individual, whether or not you're going to pay attention or you're going to ignore what God is trying to show you. It's not about being super deep. It's not about being holier than thou. It's all about what's already been stated in the Word. I mean, that's how
Yes. This
it is.
this situation has really made me want to get more in depth with my personal devotion, and it really makes you want to, it's like it's like you're reading one book and it's a series and you're waiting to get to the next series, or you're waiting for that next book to come out so you can see how it ends. And that's one of these this is one of those situations where you're seeing things slowly start to unravel, but the further you go into the Bible, book after book, you're going to see how it ends. So I'm just, like you said, just at a point where I'm trying to strengthen my relationship. I'm trying to do what I need to do to make sure I shine my light before others and be able to share my testimony with what, God has done for me in certain situations, because things like this are only going to continue to happen.
Mm-hmm.
In a sense, it's not going to get better. It's just, it's going to start coming more unexpectedly.
That's
And you
right.
just got to prepare yourself for it. So,
Yeah, gotta be ready. I pray we'll all be ready. I pray
mhm.
we'll all be ready. But before we go today here on the Sunday Word Report, I want to thank Christina for being here with me once again. One of the Sunday Word Report, I call her one of the Sunday Word Report originals. Um,
Original.
I I want to say this here on the show. I'm proud of Christina. I tell you, God has just been
Oh.
showing up and showing out in her life, and let me tell you all this. If you are at a place where you want to get closer to God, don't stop seeking Him. Don't give up. He hasn't given up on you, so don't give up on Him. And when I look at that first episode she was on, and I look at where we are at here in 2024, God has definitely, truly been good. I don't know. Do you remember this? But I told you I was like, God got some great things in store for you, and look, just
Mhm.
showing out, and I'm looking forward to that. And who knows, y'all, 10 years, 20 years from now, her daughter and my children may be leading the Sunday Word Report. I don't I don't know. Uh,
We do not know. We're going to have to wait it out and see. All I know is I try to instill in my child what my parents have taught me growing up. And it's definitely it's it's doing what it needs to do. She definitely has a heart for God. She, as soon as you even play some gospel music, her little hands go to clapping, or she try and sing with the praise team. It's just, and that's what I want to see. That means I'm raising her right.
mm,
But yeah, it's just I've been through a lot, and I just thank God for where He has placed me now. But shout out to my Bishop Paul Coppett the third and elect Lady Brandy Coppett, that ever since I've joined COP, and it's been something that I have contemplated about, prayed about for years and years. I remember that my first time I visited was in 2018. And in that moment, I said, I really like this church. I feel like this is something I want to be a part of. This is where I want to be. And when I joined earlier this year, it has definitely changed who I am as a person, who I am as a member to the church. And it means a lot when you have leaders who
mm,
want to see you be great, and they want to push you to be greater and to do better. Um And even if you're a member, like I thought I was just a member that, really wasn't being seen. Yeah, I joined the choir, but I felt like, oh, okay, that's it. But to see that they notice your growth and they applaud you about it, that means a lot. So, yes, compared to that first episode of the Sunday World Report, and then with us being here right now, it's definitely a lot of growth. And like you said, who knows? Heavenly might be on a Sunday Word Report in a couple years when she can talk. So, she already walking, so the talking is coming pretty soon.
I could just imagine because I'm gonna be stepping aside from this one day. I ain't gonna be the host forever, but that'll
Hmm.
be something. Y'all, one of these episodes, she gonna have to make a little short, quick appearance or something. 'Cause I tell you, that girl is something. As y'all see, that go Christina, and that go the beautiful ray of sunshine, heavenly. Ain't that? Look at her. That is it for today's episode of the Sunday Word Report. Thank you
Oh,
Thank you so much, Christina, for being here with me once again, and to Heavenly making her first little mini appearance here on the Sunday Word Report. I tell you, it's a joy to just see y'all and hear that God has kept y'all covered throughout the hurricane. And she waving, look, she waving today. Y'all, she don't wave often. I get excited when she do wave. Yeah, she. Anyways,
say what?
I'm I tell you, I'm sorry, y'all. She don't wave off, but when she do wave, I just get all happy because she don't wave off it at me. But anyway, let's get off here because see, I could talk to this child all day long. But thank you all so very much. Next time I will be with you all is the Sunday before Thanksgiving, November 24th. Be sure to check out the Sunday Word Report on all streaming platforms and on Facebook and YouTube. Until next time, this is Reverend Bertram, BJ Major, Miss Christina Walden, and sunshine here, but still waving at me. You gotta stop that. I gotta get off of here. Stop that. Stop that. Telling you
Say
all to
bye
stay
bye.
great, stay safe, be blessed. This has been your Sunday Word Report.